All right. Good morning. Welcome back. Welcome back to another stream, another day. All right. Good to go. Welcome back, everyone. How's everyone doing? New week, new opportunities. I'm looking forward to this week. It's going to be a good one. We got some big economic data. We got some big earnings. Definitely got some market moving events to watch out for. So definitely an interesting week approaching. How's everyone doing? Welcome. Weekend. What did I do this weekend? I was in Naples this weekend. I went back home for a few days. Yeah, it was good. Yeah. You gotta wait. I like to let it grow in a little bit before I shave. You guys, I don't know. For me, if I shave too early, it hurts. It hurts real bad. So I wait. Yeah, big game tonight. Big game tonight for the old Rangers. We'll see who shows up. I'm not even gonna get my hopes up. We'll see which Rangers team decides to step up tonight. Is it gonna be game 3, 4, 5, and 6, or 3, 4, 5, or is it gonna be game 1 and 2, or 1, 2, and 6 Rangers? I don't know. We'll see. We will see. I would not be surprised. Yeah, we'll see. I mean, they'll play the Hurricanes next. It'll be pretty much a repeat of last year. Jack Hughes is good, man. He's different. Jack Hughes is different. I will say. All right. So, welcome back. Hope everyone had a good weekend as well. Back to action, back to business. Yeah, Knicks Heat. That's another big one that's coming up. So some big playoff basketball, playoff hockey. Good time of the year. And then next week, if any of you guys are going to be in F1 Miami next week, make sure to shoot me a DM on Discord or on Instagram. I'll be there. So maybe I'll meet some of you guys there if you're there. F1 in Miami. That'll be another fun thing. So a lot of stuff to look forward to, right? Life's good, right? Life's good. Always remember that. Like we talked last week, got to appreciate every day that we're here, right? So new month, new opportunities. Let's get started. Welcome back, guys. Press that like button, subscribe if you're new. Today is May 1st. May 1st. Exciting. New month, fresh slate. Let's make it a good one. I'll pull up my stats from last month. I guess I'll do that live. Why not? I posted that on my social media. Make sure to follow my social medias, bottom left of your screen. If we go to my reports for last month, it's a good month. It was a weird month for me. It wasn't my cleanest month, but it was a good month. Here was my month for April. So a good month overall with overall P&L, $16,771.10. But this is the interesting part right here, right? This is almost all of the money that I made came in the first week. The first week of April was where I really got hot, and then the back half of April was just sort of crappy for me. Really nothing going on. I mean, I just didn't really catch anything. So it sort of hurt. I mean, just sort of got, not discouraged, but just sort of like I couldn't really get anything really going the back half of April. It was all the first week, and then it was just sort of flat. So it's going to happen. I'm happy I was able to retain the gains. I'm happy I didn't give back these gains, the ones that I made early morning or early month and then just sort of flatlined. It was a good month overall, but I can't say with certainty that my trading was, at its peak here the last few weeks of April. So, it was a good month. A little upset about this back half, like I said, but hey, it is what it is, right? I was happy I was able to maintain the gains. That's really the best part, right? And if we look at the market, right, my gains sort of went in what sort of correlated with what the market did last month. So if we look at April, right, this is April, and my gains are pretty much the same as April's month. So early start, right, this is beginning of April right here. I made a lot of money here, and then since this point, which is around the 6th of April, my P&L basically flatlined, and so did the market. So I guess if you line it up with the market, it sort of makes sense, right? I didn't really perform that well in this section of the month, but I did well here in the first half, right? So I did well here in the first half, but then this part of the month, I just didn't really catch anything. So, hey, when you see the market like that, it makes me feel a little bit better. But yeah, just wanted to share that, let you guys know how I did. So today, futures, economic earnings calendar. Economic and earnings calendar are huge this week. This is probably, this is definitely something to be paying attention to, without a doubt. So today, not much. You have ISM, you have manufacturing PMI, ISM manufacturing construction spending. Tomorrow, not much. Job openings, factory orders. Really, the interesting stuff happens Wednesday. Wednesday, ADP employment, services PMI, and then here we go, FOMC, Federal Reserve interest rate statement, 2 o'clock, and then Jerome Powell speaking at 2:30. So this is the main event, right? This is the main event right here. Wednesday, 2 o'clock, 2:30, very big, very important. Definitely market moving without a doubt. So that's what we look out for, right? That's what we need to be looking out for this week, Wednesday. Thursday, not too much. Jobless claims, normal stuff, employment rate, unemployment rate, employment report, hourly wages. So normal stuff there. But this, right? This is your main event. Wednesday, 2 o'clock, FOMC, and we have Federal Chair Jerome Powell speaking as well. Fed Chair, Federal Reserve Chair. So that's obviously huge. We need to pay attention to that. Earnings are also just as big, and because of Apple on Thursday. So here's the earnings calendar this week. Today, not much. You had SoFi this morning, Norwegian Cruise Lines, nothing crazy. Really nothing here. MGM, Avis Budget Group, nothing crazy there. Tomorrow morning, Uber, Pfizer, BP, Marriott, Marathon, nothing crazy. AMD is a big one. AMD, definitely watching this one. I really wish AMD wasn't reporting here because the daily chart setup that I'm looking at on AMD looks fantastic, but tough to trade that through earnings. Starbucks is pretty important as well. CVS, Yum Brands. That's the restaurant brand. Is that Wingstop? I think that's Wingstop. Generac. Qualcomm. So you have AMD and Qualcomm, big for the semiconductors here, right? AMD, Qualcomm, big for the semiconductors, both tomorrow and Wednesday. Datadog, Royal Caribbean, Moderna, Peloton. That'll be interesting. Peloton. Apple, right? Apple, huge, major. Apple, Thursday after close. That'll be a big one. Shopify, Square or Block, Coinbase, DraftKings, Lyft, Carvana, AMC. I know you guys are going to be buying calls on that one. Just kidding. AMC, Fubo. Yeah. So really the spotlights here this week, AMD, Qualcomm, I'd say Apple, big one. Shopify, Block, not really, but interesting to watch. But obviously the big tech names, AMD, Apple, Qualcomm sort of in there as well for the semiconductors. All right. So big names on earnings, big names on the big stuff on the economic, big week. And on top of all that, right, don't sleep on Wingstop. That's true, Mr. TNT. And on top of all of that, right, on top of all the economic news, on top of all the earnings that are coming out, we are at the most important level on the market in, of the year, right? This is, as I talked about, I made a video about maybe a month ago, I think it was like around, I think it was a month ago. I don't know exactly when it was, but we made a video saying 4,200, right? That is the level. And you can see that is still very much the case. This is ES futures. 4,200 is a massive daily chart level, right? This dates back very far. If I can go very far back, and you will see that this dates back pretty extended, right? All the way back to 2021. This level dates back to. So 4,200, 4,200, 4,200. Again here, again here, again here, again here, right? This is a monster level. So on top of everything that's going on this week, we are also at probably the most important S&P level here in the first, over the last year. So big, right? Big week. Tesla over 163. This is interesting this morning. We'll look at that. Nvidia 280. Nvidia has been very strong back half of last week. AMD strong. All the semiconductors are getting some heat. Nvidia up to 280 is interesting today. AMD bull flag on that daily. I've been talking about this bull flag on the daily for like 2 weeks now. It's starting to really set up. So definitely something I'm watching. Microsoft 305.50. Amazon 105. Meta, going to keep an eye on Meta after a big earnings last week. And then JP Morgan buying FRC this morning. It's moving higher off that. Going to keep an eye on JP Morgan, XLF, all the banks to see what they do. All right. So that's the schedule for today. We'll obviously sort of pepper in some more stuff as we have time, but yeah, let's just get started. Let's do it. So let's start with the futures. As I said, 4,200 is your major level, right? And the way I think about this today is risk reward, right? I have to always be thinking about risk to reward. And so for me this morning, it's going to be hard for me to be looking for upside unless we get the ES to really hold above 4,200, right? Anytime this week, anytime today, this week, whenever it happens, if it does happen, we need to see a hold above 4,200 for upside confirmation, right? This is very tough to set up an upside play at 4,200, hoping that we break out of this insane level that dates back for, years, 2 years, right? This is the weekly chart, right? So look at this weekly chart real quick, right? Weekly chart rejections, big weekly chart rejections at 4,200, right? Right here, big one here, another major one here. And look at where we're at right now, right? So that is, whether that happens or not, right? You can't get upset if you miss the upside, because if you are being cautious here, right? If you are understanding that 4,200 is a major supply, and, it's okay to wait for it to break, right? Even if you miss like 10 points or 20 points from 4,180 to 4,200, that's fine, right? Don't participate. At least I won't participate in that move right there. Because that is a dangerous move to participate in to the upside. I would rather be a participant after the 4,200 break and after 4,200 turns into a new demand zone, right? Turns into a new hold. That would be the upside confirmation that I would look for. Until that happens, I think you have to be very cautious going long into the 4,200 level. I think everyone is watching this level. Obviously, many, many eyes are on this 4,200. I would just be a little bit cautious playing the upside into 42. I would rather wait for the break. I would rather wait for the hold. So 4,200, big level to watch. If we do get a rejection of 4,200 today, I really would like to see the ES back to 4,160 because this area is a little messy in my eyes. I think this shelf right here makes sense. This 4,160 pullback area. This double top, this high from Thursday, right? If we do get a pullback off 4,200, I would like to see us come back to this 4,160. This would be a nice potential long entry for another push to the upside, right? A little break and retest of 4,160. That would be ideal. So today, I'm watching 4,200. I'm keeping an eye on this 4,160. If we do get a pullback off 4,200, or if we do get some weakness off 4,200, I'll look to play that downside into that 4,160. But I have to be cautious. If we get that pullback, I have to be cautious on the shorts as we come back to this 4,160 if we see that pullback, right? So today, 4,200, guys, I think that's got to be your main watch. You got to have this on your screen today. You got to be cautious being long into that 4,200. We have to understand that's a major, major daily chart, weekly chart rejection point over the last year, 2 years, and can definitely reject again. If we see rejections again, right, I would look for the pullback into 4,160, and that would be the level I'd watch to see what happens there. All right, so 4,160, 4,200, that's what I'm watching on the ES this morning. If we go to the shorter term time frames, I really don't take much, importance to these levels on Friday. They might have some type of, reaction, like this low around 41.80, this previous high around this 41.75. There might be some reactions to these intraday levels from Friday, but I'm sort of keeping a more longer term view on this chart today. Especially with how major the economic and earnings news is this week. I'm sort of zooming out, and I'm just understanding the major levels. I'm not going to get so worked up into these short-term levels. I'm really just going to focus on 42 and 41.60. Those are my two major levels I'm watching today and this week on the ES. So those are big ones. Watch out for 4,200. Please understand that rejection potential. The SPY, it's the same story, all right? So here's the SPY, all right? 4-hour chart on the SPY. You guys can see 417, right? 417, major rejection here. This is back in February of 2023, February of this year. This is another rejection here around February 14th. And then you can see, look at where the SPY is this morning, right at that 417 once again. If we go to the daily chart and we zoom out, we can see the importance of this 417. So here's the daily chart, right? 417 right here, 417 right here, 417 right here, once again here, right? Once again right here. So we can see the importance of 417 on the SPY. So you can see this morning, we're getting a little bit of a rejection of this 417 level. That's going to be big, right? That is going to be very, very major, right? 417. So 417 and 4,200 line up. 417 on the SPY and 4,200 on the ES futures. Now, if we go to the hourly chart, the pullback level that I'm going to be watching, which is at 41.60 on the ES, is 413. Right? So if we do get a pullback off 417, I would like to see a retest of this 413 level right here. Right? This would be the high of Thursday. This would be some previous highs of the last week. And I would look to see if the SPY can pull back to 413 for a potential new long entry. That would be where I'm comfortable on the long side. I'm not that comfortable, right, up here at 417. I'm not going to try to long into this daily, weekly chart rejection point. Yes, maybe it breaks out. Sure, maybe I missed out on this move. But, long term, I'm not going to want to build the habit of longing into major daily chart, weekly chart supply. It's just not something that's going to work for me long term. So I would like to get this pullback to 413. That would be ideal. If we do, then we can look for that new long entry. But that's really where the risk reward sets up down here. Up here, I think it's a little bit more interesting for the short side, back into 413. To look long again, right, without that pullback, you're going to need a break, and you're going to need a really solid hold over 417, which is the same thing as a really solid hold over 4,200 on the ES, right? So 4,200, 417, guys. I mean, just crazy, crazy important levels here today and this entire week on the ES. Does the market sort of stay sideways until Wednesday FOMC? Very possible, right? Is FOMC the one that decides which side we go? Very possible. So we have to keep that in mind as well. Do we just trade between 417 and 413 until Wednesday? Very possible, right? And then does Wednesday decide which direction this wants to move, right? Is that the deciding factor on Wednesday? Do we trade sideways until Wednesday in between this 417, 413? I think that is an entirely reasonable hypothesis if you were to think that. So 417, 413 on the SPY, guys. That's what I would be watching today. All right. Nasdaq. Okay, so Nasdaq did break 13.3 here. This is important. This 13.3 break's actually very important here. If we go to the 4-hour chart, I know this might be a little difficult for me to, put into words because it's sort of longer term. I'm going to try to get the best visual I can here. So this is probably your best visual you're going to see right here. So 13,300. That was a very influential level on Friday. This is a previous high right here. This is 13,300 right here. 13,300 on the Nasdaq was very important, right? And we held above that level in the after hours here on Friday. So you guys can see right here, when we broke 13.3, I'm going to zoom in here. When we broke 13.3 on Friday close, look at the push, right? Look at that push over 13.3 on the Nasdaq on Friday, right here. Big squeeze, right? That shows that was an important level. We pulled back, we held it, and we curled higher here in the pre-market. Now, you can see we are starting to fall back below that 13.3 right here in the pre-market. This is important. This is sort of where you need to be watching for short-term plays today. If the Nasdaq is back below 13.3 here this morning, if the Nasdaq turns 13.3 into rejections, that is very much a possible area that the market could pull back off of. I'm actually going to turn this red now because this is now a rejection potential, right? Yeah, look at what we're seeing here. 13.3 just flushed. This is important as we speak. If we stay under 13.3, right? If we do not regain that 13.3, I think you can pull back here. I think you can pull back to that 13.2 level. So let me go to the 30-minute now. This is the 30-minute. Hold on, let me get the right visual for you. I'm trying to make sure these look good for you to sort of understand the whole picture. So this is a good visual here. So if we do not regain 13.3, if we turn this rejection point into a rejection again, and if we fall below those pre-market lows, I think you could see this move to 13.2, right? I think that is very possible. Back in the 13.2, which would be very similar to the ES pulling back to 4160, all right? So 4160 ES pullback would be pretty similar to the Nasdaq pulling back to 13,200. So that is something I will watch today. If we turn 13.3 into rejections, I will look for that 13.2 move. So that's the Nasdaq. If we go to the daily chart, actually, you know what? Let's go 4-hour. The exact high, right? The exact high of this channel that has been alive since the beginning of April is 13,350. This wick candle right here, this 4-hour wick is 13,348.75. So I'm calling it 13,350. So as of right now, we are still rejecting the April channel high here around 13,350. So please be cautious of that. 13,300 is big, I think, this morning. Right? You can see the rejections here. You can see the rejection here. You can see the previous support right here that we are now falling below. So I think 13,300 needs to be on your watch. If we stay below that today, I could definitely see that pullback to around this 13.2, which is that Friday low that held demand, right? 13.2, 13.2. That could be where we get that pullback to. So 13.3, 13.2, that's what I'm watching on the Nasdaq. All right. The Qs, I didn't really even look at the Qs this morning, so we can look at them together. So the Qs are a little bit different here, right? You can see, look at this little difference we're seeing on the Qs. We're still above on the Qs. That's 319. That's important. So 319 is important. We're still above this previous high on the Qs. So this is a little bit of a discrepancy. So if you look at this, let me go to the hourly chart. And let me go to the 90-day. Let me zoom in here. So a little discrepancy on the QQQ, right? This QQQ high, this is back on Tuesday the 18th, was around 321.50. This high is around 321.50 as well. Now you can see the Qs broke and are actually starting to hold, potentially hold, that 321.50 here this morning. So I can't say with confidence that this is not important, right? If this 321.50 holds, this could actually be a bullish hold here on the QQQ. So that's a little bit of a discrepancy that we need to pay attention to today, to be honest, right? So this is, if we look at the difference, right? Look at the Nasdaq. This is that previous high on the Nasdaq, around 13.3. And we are below that right now. We're below this April 18th high. On the QQQ, we are still above this April 18th high at 321.50. So that's something to pay attention to today. Watch this 321.50 on the Qs. This April 18th high is going to be important on the Nasdaq. Right now, the Qs are above, right? You can see it's still holding above. And then on the NQ, it is back below. That's 13.3. So 13.3, 321.50. Those are the levels I'd watch. All right. We'll go to the Dow. The Dow is a little bit stronger this morning, obviously because the bank strength, JP Morgan strength, and the Dow is pushing straight into some big level here, right? Look at this. So here's the 4-hour on the Dow Jones. You can clearly see all these rejections, and you can see we're starting to approach that level again. So 34,400, 34,600. Watch out for this zone as we push higher, right? Watch out for this zone as we push higher. Now, this was a sweet, we talked about this one. This was a sweet hold on the Dow right here at 33.5. Look at that hold. Previous lows, previous highs. Support right here. We broke above, right? We came back down to it, and we held it. We held this 33.5. That was a key hold on the Dow there, and a very nice push off of it. But we have to be aware of these highs as we approach here around this 34,400 zone as we approach this supply up here. So watch out for the Dow there. On the Russell held the lows, right? We talked about that on Friday pre-market. We talked about, the Russell coming off the demand, and it could still be a nice opportunity for upside, and it definitely was, right? Look at the lows that held here on the Russell at 1730. You probably just trade within this range, right? You probably just trade within this range. The Russell held here once again, right? Very clear. Demand hold. Nice opportunity to the upside. Risk reward made sense. Now you're sort of in the middle of the channel. So now it's sort of just a, leave it alone type of trade. You're at the 50% retracement of the channel. I wouldn't touch it here. Really, the long entry was back at demand. Now it's sort of in no man's land. So now you either wait for maybe a supply rejection, or you wait for it to pull back and play demand again. So the Russell play was Friday off demand. Now it's sort of just in no man's land here. I wouldn't touch it. All right. So that's the futures. We'll go over those quickly again after the stream starts to end, towards the end of the stream. Let's go ahead and get into Tesla. So Tesla this morning is doing something very important. It is above 163. This is a big level. The fact that we're back above 163 is important here. Let me go to the 30-minute. Let me zoom in here. So 163. You guys can see this is a previous high here. We're back above that 163 this morning. Now, not only is it a short-term level, if we go to the 4-hour chart, 163 was this 4-hour low, right? This was that 4-hour low that we were talking about as we approached it here. So this 4-hour low here, 163. This 4-hour low here is 163. And so you can see this morning, if I zoom out, you can see this morning we are attempting to get back above it, right? We got back above it on Friday. You saw the reaction, and now we're just sort of consolidating above. So this is going to be interesting. 163, 163.25 area, very, very important here on Tesla. Does it maintain this, right? And does it have another upside push off this level? That is something I will be watching today. Does Tesla maintain the 163 area? This is a major 4-hour level, and it's also a very important level in the short term, right? We can see the reactions in the short term. Look at what happened on Tesla after it broke 163 here. Look at what happened on Tesla after it rejected 163 here. So this is a very important level that we are now trading back above. So I would look for both sides. I would look for, a demand hold of it or maybe another rejection of it. But 163, very important. All right, keep that on your charts today. 15 or 30-minute chart, if we look to the upside, right? If we look to the upside, you guys can see if we push up off 163, we are watching this 166, right? 166 right here, 166, 166, 166, right? Very important there as well. So 166, 166, 166, that's really your supply level. So if you do get a push off 163 today, just be cautious as we approach 166 if we do get that push on Tesla. All right? So 163, 166, that is your $3 range to be paying attention to on Tesla today. All right? So that's Tesla. Nvidia. Oh, man, this is a big one. This is a big level for Nvidia. But let's just all take a second and appreciate how clean this channel has continued to be on Nvidia. If you trusted the channel, you killed it. Look at this, right? 4-hour chart, gorgeous. Demand, 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 supply, 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 and here we are again. So, could this be a perfect storm for Nvidia rejections of 280 again? Yes, it could be. It could be. The chip stocks are strong, so be careful of doing that and be careful of being too early to it. But you have ES at 4,200. You got Nasdaq at channel high. You got some major economic news this week. Could this be another 280 rejection on Nvidia as everyone gets really bullish on chips again, right? As everyone's like, oh, here's the breakout. This is it. Could this be that time where it rejects once again? Yes, we have to stay open to that possibility. We are not above 280. We are not above the channel high. So we can't just think that this is going to continue higher. We have to keep in our minds both sides of this trade. This could reject 280 just like it did in the past. The same way this held 263, the same way it's done it in the past, right? So this at the end of the day is still a channel trade. So I would pay attention to 280 today. Could this be a nice little rejection play? Absolutely. We have to stay open to that possibility. Could this also be a great opportunity for upside, right? Nice break and retest to the upside. It could be as well. But we need to wait for that break before we get in. So 280, without a doubt, is my top watch today on Nvidia. This is definitely a juicy level. I would love to play off of this. Whichever way this goes, I want to play it, right? Either a break and hold above, a nice, juicy rejection. I want to play this, right? This looks good. So 280, big watch today on Nvidia. Definitely paying attention to this today. We'll see which way the market goes, right? The market's going to have to influence this one. But right now, we're still below those rejections, and I would still believe in these, right? I wouldn't just be long Nvidia up here and think that we're going to, squeeze through. All right, so we have to pay attention to that. 280, all right? Big stuff there. AMD. So, AMD, you guys can see nice upside this morning, right? And AMD really goes back to our bull flag on the daily. You guys know we talked about this one. We brought this one up quite a bit. We'll go back to where we first started. How did this start to form? Let's see if we can sort of outline where this started. It actually sort of broke down further than I anticipated at the first, in the beginning. I was hoping it would hold a little bit higher. Let's see here. Actually, you know what? I have it in right here. So this is back on the 19th. And I got into this play. I actually ended up taking a loss on it because it went a little bit lower than I anticipated. So I'm going to make this larger for you guys. 1 second. So here's AMD, right? And this is where it started to form around this 88. It was right around this area here. It was starting to hold that 88 level, 88, 87. And I took a shot here because I thought this might be where this holds and creates that flag setup. But unfortunately, it came a little bit lower, right? You can see it came down to like 83s. So I did get stopped out of this play, but I am going to watch it once again. This flag pattern is pretty interesting. And the only problem here, right? The only problem here is that AMD reports earnings tomorrow, which really sucks because then, to catch this, you're probably going to have to play this through earnings if you want to catch this move. So you guys can see it here, right? Daily chart, very, very consistent. It's the same setup every time. Slow pullback, flag, breakout. Slow pullback, flag to the previous high, breakout. Slow pullback, flag to the previous high. Is this the breakout? Does it happen on earnings? It might, right? It might be the thing that happens on earnings, and you're gonna have to take that gamble if you want to catch this move. So for me, I'm gonna try to be smart. I'm gonna try to wait for the earnings move. I'll look to trade it intraday today, but also on top of this, you are moving into this major previous supply level here at 91.50 on AMD. So watch out for that today. If I can see maybe a break and hold above 91.50, I'll maybe look to scalp upside before earnings. If I see a 91.50 rejection, I'll look to play that rejection play before earnings. I'm really just going to look for short-term trades off 91.50 today and tomorrow before earnings is released. Once earnings is set to come out, right, I'm probably not going to be in it. I'll probably just wait for the post-earnings reaction, and I'll accept that I'm going to miss this because I'm not going to trade this to earnings, right? I don't care how good a daily chart looks. I don't care how good the technicals are. I don't think that my technicals are going to matter when it comes to an earnings release. So it's tough, right? It's tough to swallow that pill because, I very well could miss this because I don't want to take the risk on earnings. If you guys are out there wanting to risk a little bit more, this could be a fantastic setup. I mean, it could be a gorgeous setup. We can clearly see it here on the daily chart. You can see the consistency of this movement, right? You can see the consistency of these moves. This could be, right, the next breakout that sort of pushes over 100, right? That could be this move. The measured move here, if we take the measured move, that's about, 33%, 40%. So from here, 33, 40% is up to like 115. So there's going to be this is sort of how I'm thinking about this. Even after earnings, there's going to be plenty of opportunities here to play this. So you do not need to trade it to earnings, right? There's going to be plenty of opportunities. So I would say be cautious. I would say wait, right? But if you guys are getting a little bit aggressive, if you really want to take this one, I would, keep an eye out for it. Just be careful, right, of this major rejection point at 100, right? This 100 is going to be big. 100 area is definitely going to be big. So AMD looks hot, right? Setup looks hot, but let's just be cautious of earnings. That's all I have to say. Microsoft. So this one's interesting. And I got to go back to the daily chart for this one. Microsoft's pretty big move. And Microsoft's not that far off all-time highs already. So Microsoft's about 10% off all-time highs. That's pretty wild. Congratulations to everyone that trusts in the system and continue to buy shares on Microsoft at the lows. So that is awesome, right? Now, the level to watch here is 305.50, in my opinion. That is the level to watch. 305.50. If we go back, this is back in 2021. 305.50 was a triple top rejection right here, right? Rejection, rejection, rejection. And after we held above it right here, look at the move that came in. After we broke and hold above 305.50. Now, if we move over, right, to where we are trading today, 305.50 is right here. I mean, we are sitting right on it to this morning. You can see we got above it, and after we broke above 305.50 on Friday morning, look at the squeeze, right? And actually, look at this on the 1 minute. So if you guys, this was actually a trade that we were looking at in the chat on Friday. Look at this little hold. This is crazy, right? Look at this little hold. Look at these 2-minute candles at 305.50 on Friday. Look at this, right? Wick, 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 and then squeeze, right? Right here. Look at that little hold. That is very, very nice. And that shows me that this level is very important. So 305.50 this morning is going to be important. All right, 305.50 is going to be important this morning on Microsoft. So that's what I'm going to be watching. I'm going to be watching to see, do we hold above? If we hold above, is there potentially more upside on a hold of this 305.50? If we fall below, right, if we fall below 305.50, then I will look for that downside possibility. Now, the problem is, right, you can still see there's some demand down around this 303, 304. So you got to be a little bit cautious on the short side, right? A little bit cautious on the short side. So 305.50, watch to see if that holds today. We're very clearly a major level. If I go back to the daily chart, you guys can see if I go back to the daily chart, there's not much resistance here above 305.50, right? If we sort of look at this area, this is back from 2022. There's not much resistance in this zone if we're above 305.50 until we move up into 315, right? If we hold above 305.50, I don't really see much rejections until this 315 high. So this is something I'm interested in. Microsoft is a big part of the Nasdaq, big part of the market. If the market does hold higher and continue higher, Microsoft could be on its way to that 315. There's not much resistance in this zone, right? There's not much resistance in this zone. So 305.50, major level to watch. If you hold it, I'd look for upside continuation. If you fall back below it, I'd be a little bit more concerned, a little bit more cautious on upside on Microsoft. 305.50. Hopefully that makes sense. I know it's a little bit of a hard one to sort of analyze, but you got to go back really far to sort of look at those levels. All right, Amazon. So interesting here on Amazon. Let me get a little bit more time here. Interesting 105 level. So if we zoom in, actually, you know what? Let's go 30 minute. Here's 30 minute on Amazon. It's going to be all about this 105. 105 is a previous rejection right here. It's a previous rejection right here. It's a previous hold. It's a previous hold. It's a previous hold. A flush below, a hold here, right? A hold here, a hold here, and now we are sitting right at it today. So, does Amazon hold below 105 for downside, or does Amazon hold above 105 for another upside move? This is going to be a main watch for me today. I think there should be opportunity off this 105, either a rejection for downside, a demand for upside. Either way, I like 105 as a watch to play off of today. We can clearly see the reactions that happened at this 105 zone, right? So we know there could be a trade off this level. So 105 on Amazon, I think, is a nice watch today. It seems weak, right? So I'm a little bit leaning towards the downside play because of the sort of weakness post-earnings that we've seen here. So I am a little bit more leaning towards that 105 rejection play, but I have to make sure I'm open to both sides, right? 105 and then 108 supply. That's what I'm sort of watching, all right? 105 on Amazon. Big level to watch today, in my opinion. All right, Meta, you can already see what I'm doing here on Meta, right? You can already see the channel that I have created and the alerts that I have here, all right? You can already see the alerts that I have set up here on Meta. So I'm pretty much, right, this is how I play these. I'm pretty much just going to sit here and do nothing until I see a direction get chosen here on Meta, right? Either over 242 or below 236. Very, very easy. Just stay patient. Don't get messed up in the middle of this. Just wait for the 242 retest or the 236 retest, right? And see if you can play that continuation move. Either look for, there's four potential trades here. There is 242 rejection, 242 break and retest. There is 236 demand hold. There is a 236 break and retest. These are the only four trades that I have any interest in here on Meta, and they both happen to be at the key levels, right? I do not care about this. I don't care about anything in here. All I care about is the play here and the play here, right? That's what I'll be watching. So 242, 236, I don't care which side it goes. I just want to see the reactions at these levels, right? That's the major move, all right? So keep an eye on that on Meta here. Make sure you have 242, 236 on watch and see what the reactions are off those levels. All right, let's jump into JPM this morning. JPM moving higher because of them buying FRC. Obviously, you know, they're sort of when they buy a bank like that, right, they're getting all the deposits, they're getting they're getting everything that all the meat and potatoes that the bank has left, right? Whatever they have left, they're getting it. And they're obviously buying it for a very discounted price, right? So it's good for JPM, right? It's good for JPM, and you can see, obviously, the stock is moving higher off of that. If we go to the 4-hour chart, let's zoom out. You can see we're pushing up into this 146 area. Let me go to the daily, actually. I got to show you this level on a longer-term time frame. So here it is, right? You are pushing up into this very, very big previous low around 146. I'm going to turn this red because as of right now, it is still a possible rejection. Right here, right? You can see we are pushing up into some previous major lows here. This is all from 2021, 2021 as well, 2022, and then this is 2022, 2023, right? So we are pushing back into this 146. This is big, right? So watch out for this 146 on JPM. If you are playing upside on JPM, watch out for that 146. Right, so keep an eye on that. 146 on JPM. Now, I also want to show you XLF because the XLF is also pushing right into this 33 level again. So if the XLF can get above 33, you have this previous low here, and you're sort of right at this 33 again. So we've been sort of watching this 33, right? If you guys come to the live stream, you remember us talking about the rejection play here, and that actually came in very nicely. But you can see that hold came in once again. So it's pretty resilient here. If the XLF can hold above this 33 and start to continue higher, you could see some continuation on the banks, in my opinion. Obviously, you have to only play that until Wednesday, because Wednesday, FOMC will absolutely influence the banks. So that you have to be a little bit cautious of. If we go out and zoom out to the daily chart, we can see the XLF. This could just be a channel low demand hold, right? If we do zoom out and we sort of look at the bigger picture, this could just be a channel low demand for a push into the channel high supply, which would be a 33 or a $30 to $36 move, right? It could be from triple bottom lows to triple bottom highs, right? You could just be on your way up into that 36 supply. It's very possible. So if that does happen, right, you probably will see continuation on banks like JPM, like Goldman Sachs, whatever bank you're watching, maybe not the smaller ones. I would say you sort of focus on JPM and GS. Those are really the strong ones right now. Obviously the big boys. But if this XLF does push higher into that 36, right, you're going to get some bank continuation. The only concern is FOMC on Wednesday. All right. Let's go into the ticker form because I have not been able to get in there recently. So let's pull that up. Why not? Let's see what you guys got for us today. If you guys have access, I'm going to go ahead and pull that up now. Feel free to type in some tickers you want to look at. If you guys have access to that, I changed it up so you can type them in here. I'll give you a few seconds. I will take a sip of water because I've been talking for an hour straight. My water's gone. My water's gone. I didn't realize I drank all this. Damn. Netflix. I'll look at Netflix. I'll look at Netflix and TSM and MU and Google. So we got Netflix, TSM, MU, and Google so far. Yeah, we can take a look at Apple. All right, that's all I can do. Netflix, TSM, MU, Google, FSLR, and Apple. That's what we're looking at. If you guys could take a second, damn, we're lacking on the likes. If you guys could help me out this Monday morning with some likes, that would be great. A little 1,000 like day maybe. Netflix. So big watch here on Netflix. I have an alert set actually myself because this is an interesting little level here on Netflix. So Netflix is popping into 332. This 331, 332. I have an alert. I'm going to keep my alert set around this 331.50 and see if Netflix gets above this level. Because I believe that if Netflix can get above this little rejection point around 331.50, 332, you might see a little bit of a squeeze here into this 346 again. So I will be watching. I will be watching 331.50, 332. That's something I will be keeping an eye out for at this level. So rejection here, 331.50, 332. I will be seeing if you get that push above. Now, if you don't, right, if this rejects again, this could be a rejection of 331.50, right? You could reject off this level. This could be a nice little rejection play, obviously depending on the market. So that's something to watch there. TSM is interesting as well with the semiconductors. You guys know we talked about this one. I think this could be a really, really nice daily chart setup, right? This could be risk reward, right? Makes a lot of sense here. You go long here with a swing, right? Maybe you put a stop under the lows, right? And then you look for that push back into like this 96, right? The risk reward makes sense. Can I say with certainty that it's going to work out? No, right? You have a lot of economic data. You have a lot of earnings approaching that could influence this TSM trade. But, right, this is a really nice previous high that is turning into a hold right now, especially on the daily chart. So this is a nice risk reward if you want to play something like that. But it's something you're going to have to give time. You're going to have to let it sit. And if you like trading like that, maybe that's something you look for. TSM previous highs, and you can see we moved down into it, and we are holding it for now, right? For now. We are holding at that demand. Risk reward makes sense here. A lot of stuff that could influence TSM here. You have AMD earnings. That could influence TSM. You probably have Nvidia earnings approaching. When are Nvidia earnings? Next few weeks, maybe? Yeah, so like on the 24th, you have Nvidia earnings. So if you do take a larger or a longer term position on TSM, you have to watch out for that. So just be careful. But I do like that daily chart setup. It is interesting. Maybe even for just a short-term trade if you just want to take a short-term trade. MU, yeah, approaching a pretty big level here on MU. I actually saw a lot of people taking shorts on MU here online. Which I don't really think is a terrible idea if you just sort of believe in the channel, right? If you believe in these highs and you believe that it'll reject again, it's possible, right? You can clearly see if we zoom out what it's done here previously, right? It's rejected this 66 level, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. This could be the sixth time, or if this is the breakout, right? If we do see that breakout, this could be a nice little break and retest for more upside, right? If the chips do get hot here. So interesting, right? Both sides are interesting here. Big level approaching on MU for sure, around this 66. You either look for the break and hold above, or this could be another rejection play. But either way, when a stock starts to approach a level like this is when you should get interested, right? This is when the plays start to develop, when you start to approach key levels, right? So at least you can watch it, because I think it's going to be interesting to either direction there. Google, right? Yeah, MU looks strong, Raymond, but, MU looks strong. It's the same thing, right? That's the psychology you have to be careful of, right? MU looks strong here, right? Didn't MU look strong here? And then, bam, rejection, right? MU looked strong here. Bam, rejection. MU looked strong here. Bam, rejection. MU looked really strong here. Bam, rejection. MU looks really strong here. You might be right, Raymond, right? You might be right. But, right, how many times in the past did MU look strong into this 66 level and bam, rejection, right? How many times? So, yes, I do agree that it looks a little bit stronger this time. You're approaching with higher lows, right? You do have that higher low setup maybe forming, right? You could see it, right? You have this higher low formation sort of setting up. Yes, it could break above, but how do we avoid getting stuck in the bam rejection, right? How do we avoid getting stuck in the bam rejection? What we do is we just wait for the break and we wait for the retest, All right. And we are the ones that buy here. That's all we do. All right. We're the patient ones. We don't need to trade the breakout. We let it break and we let it retest. It will retest. All right. It will retest. But it's a matter of if you're too eager and you need to trade the breakout, or if you just let it break out so you don't get stuck in the, you guessed it, bam, rejection. So that's MU. Google, I got to go quick, speed round. 109 rejections, watch for that. 109, 107 on Google. FSLR, 181. I don't know why I have that level, but it must be important. Yeah, previous highs here. FSLR, right? Rejection, rejection. You have FSLR 180, 181 area. Watch out for that. That could be a hold today. And then finally, Apple. I wouldn't trade Apple today. You have earnings approaching, but here's your channel to watch. 170 to 168. Very clear $2 channel between right here, right? 168, 170. Very clear $2 channel. Look for the break of either side. I'll jump real quick to Airbnb because someone put it in there. Yeah, 120, 121 on Airbnb, right? Look at this. Look at these rejections. Watch out for this. Previous lows, rejection here. Watch 120, 121 on Airbnb. All right, guys, I got to head out. If you guys liked the video today, if you liked the live stream, I would really appreciate a like if you guys could. I hope you guys have a fantastic day today. Be careful out there. Watch out for the 4,200 on ES. Watch out for 417 on SPY. These are the major levels to watch. Very important. Keep an eye on that all week, right? All week. It's going to be about 4,200 and 417 on the SPY. That's going to be the major area to watch. We'll probably be talking about it every live stream of this week. All right? So thanks again, guys. Press that like button if you could before you head out. Subscribe to the channel. And I will see you guys tomorrow. Peace out.